Hey y'all, how's it going? Felt drawn or led to do just a random reading for everyone, so here we go. Today I'm using the Muses Tarot. I love it so much. And usually it wants to be a very personal deck for me, but apparently I wanted to come out and play. So let's see what messages we have in store for you. For those of you who don't know me, I am ChosenEyes, professional psychic medium who also happens to be a doctor by credential. And my mission is to train the next generation of unlikely healers. One of the ways that I do that is teaching classes or courses like tarot, magical ethics, and helping with your spiritual development. So if any of that sounds cool, oh yeah, I mentioned, or I didn't mention rather, also a medical astrologist. So if any of that is of interest to you, please look at the description below, and you will be able to either book a session, one-on-one teaching and all the things with me. But let's see what messages we have here. So I also pulled from the Moonology Messages Oracle deck too, because for whatever reason these were the two decks that wanted to speak to you. All right, so I'll hold up the cards as I get them, so I'm not using my phone and not using my other camera, but let's do this. Hi. All right, so you've got the Emperor, Page of Inspiration, which is essentially the Page of Wands. You've got the Six of Cups, which in this deck is emotions. The Ace of Materials, which in this deck is Ace of Pentacles. And then you've got Two of Voices, which is essentially the Two of Swords. You've got Quicksilver Moon, which is changes. Healing Moon, seek healing. And Moonlight Enchanted. So what do I get from all of these? Essentially, you're in a space where you're coming from not trusting that everything that you need in order to navigate a situation is right in front of you. You're actually starting to avail yourself to the possibility, or maybe not wanting to avail yourself to the possibility out of shame, fear, and or guilt, that what you needed to get out of your own stuck situation or what you needed to build in order to move forward. All your materials are right in front of you. You just got to make the decision as to whether or not you're going to do it or not. There's no right or wrong answer in that. The other thing that I want to bring up, especially with the Emperor being in the same lineup with the Six of Cups, I feel like in time, for some of you, this feels very heavy, that there are people that wanted to help you as far back as childhood, even past life occurrences, that this feels like cyclical, okay? And this may not resonate with everybody, but for whatever reason, there are those of you who have time and time again had somebody to show up in this lifetime or another lifetime that genuinely wanted to help you, that genuinely cared, that genuinely try to help move you forward and propel your projects forward. And they always offered help, and you never felt that their help was either enough, or you failed to see that they were trying to help you. The reason being is because you were operating from a mentality of lack and scarcity and fear. Fear has a largely detrimental effect on all of us. So if you have ever felt like you were making a decision out of desperation and or fear or anxiety, then that wasn't the best decision. And I understand we all have life situations that cause us to move sometimes in ways that may be a little bit hasty because we're moving out of duress. But please understand, anytime you have to make a decision like that, or you are able to take a step back for a second, try to take a deep breath and ground, because the worst thing for you to do is to make a choice based off of like anxiety and desperation. So this is a period where if you can identify who that person was, or maybe what their resource may have been, right? Because maybe it's not a person, it's an actual object, right? Who and or whatever that is or has been for you, this is a beautiful time for you to make peace with that and to make it right. Because I do see where if you don't watch it, resources are going to start drying up. And that's not necessarily from the cards. This is something that I'm channeling. I do not know why, but for whatever reason, this message is specifically strong for Capricorn, the sign of Capricorn, and to an extent Virgo. Be very, very cognizant of where help lies. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And if help is not being given to you, it's okay. Because perhaps in this moment, that's not the best place for you to receive the help. Perhaps this is a mentality of, like I was just talking to my spouse about this, actually, who's a Capricorn. There's a pervasive theme that kept coming up in terms of business opportunities that people kept bringing before him, and he would listen to them, and he, for whatever reason, it would always give him anxiety. Right? He would still listen and want to hear them out and have the conversation, but the anxiety, like it would shut him down, literally. And I literally just told him 2 minutes ago, just got off the phone with him, hey, maybe this isn't a time for you to continue down that path thinking that because it worked once, it's going to work again. Maybe this is constantly showing back up for you to let you know you've moved beyond this. If something keeps showing up for you and it doesn't work out, it's letting you know, or it's giving you the opportunity, it being the universe, to move beyond it and to make peace with it. So if this is a relationship with a person and you have either you've mistreated this person or mistreated the dynamic, this is an opportunity for you to make it right and to try to heal that situation. If they're not open to it, then that's something you're going to have to do on your own and give yourself closure. If you were the person who was being mistreated, this is an opportunity for you to trust that you've learned the lesson and that you are capable of breaking that cycle. And that just because you once had history with this person or this thing and it was a positive experience or there were positive attributes, pardon me, just had some oral surgery, it doesn't mean that it has to move forward with you. Now, when we get to the Moon Oracle cards, and I don't mean to read them separately, typically I don't, but for whatever reason, they have bento boxed themselves, meaning they have compartmentalized themselves in this reading. With Seek Healing at the top of the reading over here, with changes in Enchanted at the bottom, it actually pivots back to what I was saying. If you can heal from the situation, you'd be so surprised at how quickly the realignment phase starts to happen in terms of you moving on into a different direction. With Enchanted here, it lets me know, like, you only have the opportunity to meet someone or engage with something for the first time once each lifetime. Meaning, true, you can have a past life connection with somebody and revisit that in newer time frames, right? Time continuums. But each time continuum only happens once. So you're only meeting them once in that space. Does that make sense? So just because I've had several lifetimes with my spouse, I have never been this version of myself energetically anywhere else. He's never been himself anywhere else. So therefore, in this time-space continuum, it was the first time that we've met, even though we have met lifetimes in time strings throughout the cosmos. Okay? I hope that makes sense. What's really, really special and important about Enchanted energy is that we're talking about what most people would view as magic, but we're talking about the ultimate highest form of creation that can happen between two people or any group of people, a human and a thing, whatever, right? But between anything that has mass in the cosmos, you only get to encounter each other for the first time once. There are going to be a lot of once in a lifetime things that start happening, especially with the current Saturn, Neptune, and Neptune placements, in addition to Uranus and Mars being conjunct, right? I've said this in several other videos, you cannot make this stuff up. You will be surprised at where your next break comes from. You will be surprised at where your next drink of water comes from. It's so many things and so many opportunities if you've done the healing work, right? And look at this. I was talking about space-time continuums. You see how many different versions of the moon there are going into the crescent, which is all about fertility, divine feminine energy, everything about this, right? Reception. You have to be able to receive what's coming to you, but it's not going to come to you in by traditional means or the way that you have historically received things. This is a period where your wildest dreams are about to become your lived reality if you allow it. If you allow it. And something else about this card. You see how I was talking about the different versions of the moon, but they're all still the same moon? But then they're also all encased in this larger orb or the sphere. Keep that in mind, because that goes back to what I was saying about the cosmos being one big thing, but then we also got different versions within it in terms of space and time, right? You have all these different versions of you that are ascending, that are sloughing off that which no longer serves you. Any nouns, person, places, things, ideas, whatever. Everybody is transmuting all the stuff and getting rid of it. You're being forced to. Saturn doing what it's doing in the cosmos right now is forcing everybody to level up and shut up. If you choose not to, it's going to force you to do it kicking and screaming. So you might as well just go ahead and just lean into it. Lean with it, rock with it. If you can do that, the changes will come. And again, with the changes card, you've got swan energy. We all know about swans, transformation, right? This is a beautiful period for you, especially swans. Think about it, the ugly duckling. Swan babies are not necessarily known for being the cutest, but then they morph into these beautiful, seemingly exotic, eccentric, very self-aware creatures. Right? Everything about this is letting you know that this is an opportunity for you to become your own swan on your own terms. The enchanted energy is letting you know that you only have the opportunity to learn this version of yourself and fall in love with it for the first time once. You're going to meet people. You get to meet these new people once in a lifetime. You're going to have these opportunities that happen once in a lifetime. The enchanted card, the moon going back. I mean, it's the moonology, right? But you get the moon going through this portal, this gateway. That's you. You are about to enter into a new cosmic state of being and a state of awareness. This is also a leveling up and an ascension of your intuitive abilities for everyone. So if you feel a little hypersensitive during this time where you're not able to, you feel a little overstimulated being out in public, you don't feel like you can be around a lot of people, you feel like you don't really want to talk, you want to conserve your words and your energy, you're feeling like maybe a little bit more of a voyeur, right? Just looking at society and the happenings and not really wanting to be in it. But you know that you have to be of it in order to sustain things on a 3D level. Totally to be expected during this period. This is an opportunity for getting off of your butt and doing whatever it is that you know deep down inside that you have been called to do. I know that some of you will say, hey, ChosenEyes, I don't know what it is that is my calling. Your purpose and your calling in this life is not supposed to be this deep, mystical, magical thing where you get the glow like Bruce Leroy and start levitating. A lot of times it's doing the thing that scares you the most. Give you a little backstory. I felt like I was supposed to be a surgeon who was supposed to also just happen to, like by happenstance, have these spiritual capabilities, and maybe every now and then I would do some readings for some people. Make plans, watch the cosmos laugh, right? Because clearly it has been the inverse. And it took me a while to grapple with that because I thought that was the cosmos' way of saying that I had wasted my time in my life going to med school. I chose not to become a surgeon, obviously. I chose to go a more holistic approach when it comes to medicine because I wanted to have a life with my family. And I thought for a while that was me being a bad doctor. And then I had to realize, like, actually, No, I'm just not meant to be a doctor in that capacity. I'm not meant to be a clinical doctor in the way that we've come to understand that term. The word doctor actually translates to mean teacher, and I'm supposed to teach. And that was something that I always knew I was supposed to do. There's a whole other video on that, but I'll explain that to you later. My point being is that you may have it within you to feel that you're supposed to be doing one thing in a very stereotypical, very scripted way. When in fact, you see yourself or have been feeling the need to move in a different direction with it. But because you're so afraid of what's happening how you may be getting pushed back on the 3D with it, you haven't done it. And I'm going to let you know that between now and probably mid to late August going into September, that sense of do it, like you got to vomit it out, is going to keep happening creatively to you because of Saturn's influences right now. If you don't, then you're going to be missing out on huge rewards. Something that I love about Saturn energy, I mean, I'm an Aquarius, there's that, right? It co-rules my personal sun sign. But I will also say, when you lean into Saturn's energy, everybody gives it a bum rap because it's hard work, it's karma, it's time, it's the mundane and monotonous, it's the bureaucrat and the micromanager of the cosmos. But Saturn rewards handsomely, like huge dividends pay off if you lean into Saturn energy, right? Every time I think about Saturn energy, I think about the 8 of Pentacles and Sierra's song, Level Up. Ooh, hold on, y'all, one sec. My bad, I didn't want to have a sneezing fit with y'all. But I was going to say, I think about Sierra's song, Level Up, and the 8 of Pentacles for tarot. The reason being is that Saturn is asking you to push yourself beyond barriers in order for you to truly see who and what you truly are and what you have allowed yourself to become, and who you are no longer willing to be, for the sake of truly being honest with your core, with your soul, with your core values. If you can lean into that energy, you will surprise yourself. It doesn't mean that you run yourself into the ground, because that is a shadow aspect of Saturn alien energy. Okay, just gonna put that out there. It does not mean that you have to become this grump that doesn't see any beauty or enjoy life. Nope. It does not mean that you are supposed to completely and utterly alienate and cut yourself off from society and just become this stoic individual. No. What it does mean is that you're prioritizing things differently. You're triaging things through a lens that, one, Saturn is also about self-preservation. So are you creating boundaries that not only allow people to treat you the way that you desire to be treated and that you need to be treated, but also are you setting up boundaries and parameters to save you from yourself? I will say that again. Are you creating boundaries and parameters around yourself so that way you save you from yourself? Because the other aspect that I'm getting from this particular duo, right, which again, Ace of Materials is Ace of Pentacles, Two of Voices is Two of Swords. How are you speaking to yourself? Are you in this cosmic duality within yourself mentally? Are you telling yourself that things can either black or white, can be either black or white, yes, no, hot, cold? Are you only navigating life in extremes, or are you leaving room for the gray? Because if you're giving yourself if you're not giving yourself the space to see things in a spectrum or in a continuum, then you're only limiting yourself to two ways of being, or only seeing a situation as existing in two different ways. And now you got to make a series of non-choices. It's really not even a series. Now you got to make a non-choice, because you don't want this side of things and you don't want this side of things. So where do you meet in the middle? If not entirely in the middle, what shade of gray are you going to allow yourself to swim in? With the Emperor here, make sure that when it comes to those boundaries, that you are honest enough with yourself to be able to say, you know what? I need to make sure that I'm hydrating and not viewing hydration as caffeine because coffee happens to have water in the brewing process. So instead of giving myself 6 cups of coffee, let's start cutting it down to maybe 4. And then titrating down to 2. And then we're going to go down to 1.5. And titrating it that way. The Emperor gives you realistic goals because it's, in this particular instance, it's not inverted, right? So this is more realistic goals and you being able to be a master of self or mistress of self, right? In self-ownership and acceptance, as opposed to feeling like you have to control, manipulate, and micromanage everything. This isn't that time. This is a time for you to create a fluidity, right? Think about a swimming pool, like an actual competitive level swimming pool. And the lanes have those buoys on top, right? The lane dividers. Now they sit on top of the actual lanes because there's lane markers on the bottom of the pool. And then you actually have the buoys that are floating on top. Now, obviously, they can't stay in one straight line because the water is moving them, right? But you still know where the lane is. So there's a fluidity to the lane, right? And then there's still the structure at the bottom, which lets you know this is the lane. My point being to this is that's what boundaries need to be like right now. You've got a clear understanding of I'm not going past this line, I'm not going past this line. But there needs to be a little bit of fluidity to accommodate a moment and a few extraneous variables, right? Things that you couldn't necessarily account for in a moment. That's how it needs to move. Because if you're trying to make it so rigid and so structured, you're going to choke the life out of yourself and whatever it is that you are trying to create or breathe life into. Or if you're trying to heal a situation, be it yourself or a dynamic with someone else, any form of being too stubborn or being too rigid is going to cause everything to crumble. So, that being said, this is an opportunity for you to respect what you are trying to build within yourself, what you're trying to instill in others, what you want to put forth into the world, and what you can sustain moving forward. All right? Thanks so much for entrusting me with your spirit. Again, if you are interested in any form of correspondence with myself, check out the description below. Love and kisses. Keep your gazes forward.